Hello, hello. It's your astrologer friend Kimberly here with the week's astrology. We're going to be covering Monday, 6th of July through to Sunday, the 12th of July. And it is a Mercury retrograde. However, I do have my camera working. I have my video camera working. I have my audio microphone plugged in. So let's hope that this is a drama-free, Mercury retrograde-free little video that I'm creating for you here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And yes, I do have a full face of makeup on. I'm going out tonight. I'm going to watch Erica Badu, who is DJing. So full face of makeup has been whacked on. And let me just share my screen and walk you through what is going on in the stars. So we have the moon in Pisces entering the week, which also means that the whole of Sunday and Saturday night, where I am, the moon is in Pisces. So I get to see Erica Badu, who is a Pisces stellium artist, and the moon is in Pisces. So I'm thrilled about that. I was very excited when I saw what time she was playing. Anyhow, all of Sunday, moon's in Pisces, and entering the week, Monday, moon is in Pisces, and moon in Pisces is a very fluid, free, artistic, liminal moon position or moon sign for the moon to be in. So we could be feeling a little bit sensitive, a little bit more emotionally fluid entering the week. We also have the moon trine Mercury retrograde entering the week, very, very early hours of the morning, unless you're in Asia, as am I, or in the Middle East or somewhere like this. But if you're in London or New York or even Los Angeles, you will be missing that because you'll probably be asleep. But the moon is forming that trine to Mercury retrograde, which could indicate sweet dreams or tapping into the Mercury retrograde energies. We also start the week with Venus in Leo trine to dwarf planet Eris. I do like using dwarf planet Eris in my astrological interpretations. She's the same size as Pluto, and I think that we give her fair whack for that. Eris is the planet of discord and chaos and lack of harmony. But with Venus in harmonious aspect to Eris, I'm going to say that there is quite a lot of romantic drama going on entering the week. Love as a performance, romance as something that is very, as I say, spicy and dynamic. We've had declarations of love with these two people climbing up to the top of the Empire State Building. And it's also, I believe, uh, Taylor Swift's wedding this weekend. So drama as love as a statement, love as something very dramatic and demonstrative seems to be a theme with Venus in Leo. Love as a performance, right? Love is, Venus takes the stage in Leo. We've also now got Jupiter in Leo, which is also super thrilling, super exciting. And I just posted on Instagram a illustration of how Jupiter is now in a very resonant position, in the same position really as it was in August of 1990. So do have a look at that if you're on Instagram, just to see the chart pattern. I'll include it in the newsletter that I'm doing. I'll put it as a link under the YouTube. So we are almost midway through Cancer season as we start this week. And as we enter the week, the Sun squares Saturn. So this is the most kind of important thing that's going on. The Sun there at 14 degrees of Cancer, Saturn there at 14 degrees 23. And so the exact square comes in Monday morning at 11:38 a.m., which is not soft and squishy and cozy. In fact, it's super frustrating, jarring moment. We've said many a time how Saturn is not happy in Aries. It's not a particularly effective place for rule-loving, boundary-loving Saturn to be operating from. Aries is obviously very hasty, very dynamic, very bold and forthright. Saturn really operates better in zodiac signs like Capricorn, where he's got train tracks to run along, or Aquarius, where everything is fixed and ideas are already laid out. But in Aries, He's digging in, but it's not necessarily comfortable. And then Cancer season, which is all about home and family and comfort and care and nourishment and safety and security. There is a square coming in between these two principles. So, on the one hand, we might want to focus on our property. On the other hand, we're struggling to have that sense of individualization and structure around our personal lives. Like maybe even, could come up in a lot of different ways. I've written the daily horoscopes for you there. For further interpretation. But what makes this extra interesting is that we have the moon entering Aries on Monday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So just around this time when the sun is square to Saturn, the moon is also in Aries, which is a little bit hot and heady, let's put it that way, right? The moon in Aries is operating emotionally in a very direct, forceful way too, in a way that's assertive. The moon is coming into contact with Neptune and Saturn. She's sandwiched between these two signs. So it's a pretty considerable locking in emphasis on Aries, but in Cancer season, right? So Mercury retrograde and the sun are both answering to this moon in Aries. So Monday is not necessarily going to be easy. It's going to have a pull around our focus that draws us towards the Aries area of our chart. Okay. So that's interesting. And all the planets in Aries are answering to Mars in Gemini, which is, I don't mind that. I like this sparky, playful Mars in Gemini now that it's gone past Uranus. But that's just to say we enter the week with the liminal Pisces moon, then it enters Aries at 4 o'clock UK time. And then we get the last quarter Aries moon, and that is at 8 o'clock on Tuesday, 8 p.m. on Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday are dominated by this energy of Sun square Saturn. It's like a butting up of up against rules. It's like a quite a formidable energy that's going on there. And then this last quarter moon. So last quarter moons are pushing through moments. They're breakthrough moments. If we think of the new moon in Aries, there's a time of seeding, conception, initiation. The first quarter moon allows us to step out and try and kind of get some energy behind our ideas. The full moon in Aries is shining a light on how well we've done with that project. And the last quarter moon brings us home to the finish line, quite literally, with it being Cancer season. And so there could be this need to really push through. But with Saturn there, it's quite a frustrated energy that we're working with, but still it's on the nose in terms of that timing. You can see that Saturn and the moon here in Aries and the Cancer sun literally to the degree. So that's going to be a real concise, considerable energy that we have going on there. In between this, we also have the planet Neptune stationing retrograde. You can see that 4 degrees. He reaches 4 degrees 25, boom, retrograde. And that is around Tuesday lunchtime. I'm going to say 11:55 is the exact time when it goes retrograde because I wrote it down. 11:55, Neptune goes retrograde. Now, when a planet is stationing retrograde, there's extra potency, there's extra charge around that planet. It is drawing more attention to itself. So I really think, again, the message is focus on the Aries area of your horoscope. What does Aries represent for you? If you can't remember, just ask me, your astrologer friend. I may be your astrologer. I may have your chart details on file and you can ask me. Maybe I'm your friend. You can ask me. But nevertheless, you will be more animated and elevated around the Aries area of your chart. And again, we have that Venus in Leo, we have Jupiter in Leo. So the fire element is coming in hot, coming in strong. Neptune in Aries. Neptune is permanently in Aries as well. Now, Wednesday is the last day that Venus appears in Leo. So she's wrapping up her tour. She's getting to the very last degree. And as she does that, the moon is corroborating with Venus. So you can see the moon gets right to the end of its tour of Aries. So a lot of warmth, a lot of spice, a lot of drama, rama with Jupiter co-present again. Okay, so there's an optimism to this too. It's not all grinding gears and Saturn sort of kicking his heels up. I believe that we're coming into pretty optimistic, I'm not going to say joyful time, but it seems to be that a lot of my fellow peer astrologers are in agreement that this could be a bit of an influx of warmth and positivity. And I am going to corroborate with that. I'm going to say that we have been through some real patches of hardship, and that let's just take it home into a more joyful space, a more creative space too, let's hope. So Neptune stations retrograde, the moon meets Saturn, it squares Saturn. It's the last day of Venus in Leo, and then the Aries moon trines Venus in Leo, and then the moon enters Taurus and comes together with Chiron in that moment there and squares Jupiter in Leo. But we don't mind that too much. Look, the moon is exalted in Taurus. I do not mind this energy at all. I'm going to say we're on steady ground. It's a fleeting square of Jupiter in Leo. So let's not worry too much about that. What is interesting, however, is that we're now in Earth territory, and very, very quickly, Venus enters Virgo, where it is trine Chiron and where it meets the South Node. Now, if you're very tuned in to your own astrology, if you've been paying a lot of attention, you might pick up on this fact that we've been having eclipses through Virgo and Pisces, and that the South Node has been in Virgo, and that we've had this long journey of Neptune through Pisces. And so the Pisces area of the horoscope has been wildly activated, let's say. The Pisces area of the horoscope has been nourishing us and pulling in themes of Pisces, whereas the Virgo side of the coin has not been quite as fertile. It hasn't been watered, right? Like, as it wouldn't be because it's Earth sign, but maybe Earth would get some watering, but it's not been active, right? Virgo season, it will be active. You know, there's certain times when, you know, the Virgo house of our horoscope will be activated, but now is one of them. But with that Venus South node there and Venus not being very happy in Virgo, pay attention to what's being called out for you, because it could be that you are given a nudge, given a nod to basically enjoy something or pay attention to something that's been lacking in your life. So, thinking of myself, as always, I think about how, as an Aries, Virgo represents health and wellness, and I have not been doing my exercise. I've not stepped foot in a gym in a long time. So maybe this Venus into Virgo will remind me of the daily rituals and routines that make up such an important part of everyone's world. But for me as an Aries, that's being highlighted. Or if you're, for example, a Pisces rising and, you know, or a Pisces, and this is activating your relationship sector, you might have neglected time with a loved one, like with your best friend or your spouse, and it might be time to make some time for your loved ones or your lover. So Venus enters Virgo there Thursday evening, 6:23 p.m. Venus is trine Chiron in Taurus and conjuncts the South Node. And then the moon enters Gemini. And this is kind of exciting air energy. Okay, so the moon is exalted in Taurus, but as it gets into Gemini, it's not quite so happy, but we can still tolerate that Gemini energy. Or can we? Because it will be Gemini moon, Gemini Uranus, and Gemini Mars in that period. So it is kind of a lot to handle, especially for myself as a Cancer rising. Perhaps you're a Cancer rising. The energy is a little bit dynamic. It's a little bit wild. It's a little bit wacky there. But maybe you are okay with that kind of energy. Maybe you're a Gemini rising and it's allowing you to focus on your physicality. Then we wrap up the week with a Sun conjunction to Mercury retrograde. And that is seeing us into the next week when basically we have the new moon in Cancer. So the moon enters Cancer very, very late on Sunday night. And there you can see the Sun and Mercury retrograde are conjunct ahead of that new moon. So basically, as we wrap up the week, we're going to be getting this dose of energy around Cancer. Now, I'm going to save the full spiel about that for next video next week with these weekly horoscopes. But it's a really good time to prepare for that new moon on the 14th of July. Are we in July? June, July. Are we in July? I can't believe it's 2027 next year. I was looking at the calendar today and I was like, bloody hell, it's like Jetsons. We're in the future. It's so far in the future, 2027. Can't even believe it. Anyway, we're in July 2026 right now. And as I say, the Cancer new moon is coming. It's going to be a super nourishing one with that moon entering Cancer at that point. So time to bring it back home during Cancer season. This is a beautiful window that we're entering into. Gemini moon, more sparky, more dynamic. Moon Mars, very, very dynamic energy. But looking forward to that Cancer new moon. And I'm looking forward to Erica Badu this evening. DJ set, got to leave the house, but it has been a pleasure. I'm open for comments and consultations and any questions as well from you guys. Let me know what I can help you with. And till next time, big hugs, but also watch out for that Sun square Saturn. That's the real kicker this week. Venus entering Virgo, last quarter moon in Aries, spicy Aries moon. Maybe remediate your situation with a nice curry this week. Okay, big hugs from me. Lots of love.